Cloud. Okay, there we go. Anyway, Bob, our intrepid president, our new intrepid president, is out this month and next month on paternity leave. So congratulations to Bob.
Yay!
I have absolutely no news aside from he is not here. So I don't know. We
I
don't
know
know anything.
he told me it was going to be a boy when I talked to him in at the Koha conference. That's all I know. But goodness, I think he came early. Happy,
Yeah,
happy,
I don't
healthy
know.
baby. Yeah.
I don't know for certain that the baby has been born. I know that Bob is not here, which suggests that there is a baby in the world.
Right.
Anyway, you've all probably got the agenda. First thing up is announcements. I don't have any announcements aside from Bob's not here. Does anybody else have an announcement? Having waited an appropriate period of time, I'm going to say no. And
Andrew, could you reshare the agenda, please?
oh, I'd be happy to. Let me grab that link. Wake up, keyboard. And oops.
Thank you.
Certainly. The first item of new business we have on the agenda is that we have a new time for board and general meetings. You've probably already figured that out because you're here. And otherwise you would be not here. But yeah, we're doing the general meetings as demonstrated the first week of the month now, with the board meetings the following week, which is a little bit of a shift up, but is what we're doing going forward. Which I know Christopher put in an email and everything. Again, you evidence suggests you know this already because you've made it to this meeting. I've already mentioned that Bob is out on paternity leave. That brings us to our 2024 board roles. These are things that I think you will know these all already. These have all been announced, but let me make them official here in the meeting. So in 2024, we have a new president, Mr. Bob Benhoff. Yay, Bob, he's not here. I'm taking over as your vice president. Georgette is staying on as the treasurer. Yay, Georgette, thank you.
You're welcome.
Christy is the secretary and John is the financial manager. I'm reading the thing to you now, and I don't know why I'm reading the thing. And then two new members at large. Oh, this is why I'm reading the thing, so somebody can correct my pronunciation of Michael's name. Michael Adamic? Where does the emphasis go?
Adamic.
Adamic. Thank you, Christopher. And our unsupported member at large, Kosi. Oh man, Kosi, I didn't even think about your last name.
Dafiago.
Dafiago. Okay, see, that's how it's spelled. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to run over committee chairs quickly and just kind of talk ever so slightly about committees. Our 2024 committee chairs, we've got myself in the development committee, Christopher heading education, Georgette in finance, the non-present Bob in conference planning, and we don't currently have anybody leading the fundraising committee. That's a conversation Bob and I have been having, and I think there are things to hopefully to come there, but you know, letting fundraising having a slow start. The big thing I really want to say about committees is that anyone is welcome to join any committee at any time. If you are looking for a way to become involved in koha-US and be helpful, please join a committee.
Could we have a rundown of those committee chairs one more time?
Yeah, I'm chairing the development committee. So that's Andrew Fuerste-Henry. Christopher Brannon chairing the education committee. Georgette Rogers chairing finance. Bob Benhoff chairing conference planning. And there is currently not anybody chairing the the fundraising committee. And I had wanted to talk briefly about the charges of each of those committees. They're kind of self-evident, but the development committee is pursuing the developments that koha-US is paying for, and more broadly keeping an eye on what Koha is up to. So if you are interested in helping out in that endeavor, if you're wanting to get all up in Bugzilla, come join us on the development committee. Christopher on education is working on disseminating information about how Koha works, improving and deepening our educational resources. Georgette is making sure that we don't go broke on the finance committee. Bob is planning an awesome conference in Round Rock with Rhonda's help. Hello, Rhonda. And yeah, fundraising would be raising funds for koha-US, but is a little dormant right now because we've felt like that process probably needs some overhaul and attention. That's the very diplomatic way to say that. It's been messy. Before I move on from board roles and committee chairs, does anybody have questions or comments on those things?
I will just add that fundraising has been dormant because the consensus about among the board for a while now has been that the primary function of Koha isn't necessarily to raise funds, while we use the funds that we collect for membership fees to take care of operation and developments. It's not the driving force of, we don't want to become just this big fundraising organization. We're helping to educate the community, especially in the US region, but it wasn't a primary function of koha-US, and that's kind of why it's sat there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it needs to continue to sit there dormant. It could be a conversation for this year's board if it's something that wants to be pursued or just taken off of the page. But I mean, we do a pretty good job of raising funds. We have funds, so.
Yeah, that's a fair point. It may be best characterized as an uncertainty of goal, of mission, rather than anything else. And yeah, I think that will be a conversation throughout the year of what that fundraising committee is going to be or not be, and what its mission and goals are.
A follow-up point to what Christopher just said: fundraising is an incredibly time-consuming task that this organization, whose board is entirely comprised of volunteers, usually does not have the time to get it to dedicate. And that was really something that came into focus when Todd Goatley Seals from Bywater was chair of the fundraising committee for a little bit and devoted some of his time at Bywater towards the fundraising goals of this organization. And he realized, in conjunction with me in my role as treasurer at the time, that wow, this took a lot of effort. And when you've got people that are already working full-time jobs and then volunteering additional time on top of that to serve on a board of a national organization, doesn't matter that it's a small organization, it's national and even international in scope. There were a lot of time commitments that just could not be met to effectively have a fundraising, people dedicated to fundraising.
Yeah, that makes all the sense. And when we don't have like a thing that we need to be raising funds for specifically, yeah. So yeah, if you'd like to be involved in that conversation, please join the fundraising committee. From there, I'm going to scooch on down the agenda to the consortia SIG. I've got a note here that George Williams will be taking over the consortia SIG in February. I'm sure Bob is appreciative of that. Yeah. If you're a consortia, go talk to George in the consortia SIG starting in February. And then my last note here is just to acknowledge Koha 2305 upgrades. If you're a Bywater partner, you're going to get upgraded pretty soon. If you're a Bywater partner, you're missing a What's New webinar right now. I hope you're going to the one tomorrow. Yeah, I don't have anything huge to say about 2305 except it's coming. We've been on it for about a month. It's been okay. Pretty chill. There was nothing like that went crazy. Staff were all clinched after the last upgrade that changed how everything looked. So this one was very small. Yeah. Anybody have 2305 questions or concerns?
Yeah, I installed it and things seem to be running.
Cool.
I have found that, so far with it being on our test server, I have not had to make any adjustments to our jQuery, which is unusual. They didn't do a lot of structure change to existing structure. They've added features, but nothing that impacts, the things that we point at this point. So it seems like it's been a very welcome and pleasant transition.
Hopefully that's a trend for a little while after the big staff interface overhaul. Maybe we kind of got our ducks in a row there. Things can calm down.
Yeah, I'm not sure anyone here has noticed any difference.
I'm trying to think if I have any other like 2305 deep thoughts. I want the SQL autocomplete to be cooler than it is. Oh, alas. You gotta name your tables and stuff. Why doesn't it just magically know what I want?
I'm just grateful for what's there. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm seeing some nice improvements in editing, which is really helpful. And I know that we are moving forward. I know it's not in this version, but I know we're moving forward to cleaning up. There's discussion on cleaning up the notification templates and getting rid of some of the legacy stuff and adding in more template toolkit tools.
That'd be nice. That's a good direction to move in.
Is anyone else using the item bundles at all yet? The upgrade is going to bring something that hopefully will make those a bit more feasible for us. You can, instead of having to check in each item one at a time, you can just check a box that checks them all in at once. So we're excited about that.
That sounds cool. We haven't played with it yet. We have a few item bundles and we're kind of on the fence of whether or not we want to kind of formalize those in Koha. Danny's here twice. Hello, both Dannys.
Wow, this room is filling up.
Yeah. Well, hi, everybody. Those of you coming in late,
I was at the
welcome.
Bywater webinar, and I encouraged everybody, since this is ending early, everybody
Sure.
go to koha-US. Here's the link.
Well, we should stall. George, what was exciting? We were just talking about 2305 upgrades. What was cool in the What's New webinar?
I don't know. I kind of slept through it.
Should we all go
No,
to the next one tomorrow?
I particularly like the Holds Digest is coming in 2305. A lot of people are excited about the auto completion to the SQL reports editor. There's a change coming to recording local use with statistical patrons that I didn't realize.
Oh,
where
yeah.
when you check something out to a local use statistical card, it will alert you if the item is on hold, and it will check it in if the item is checked out to somebody. That's something that's different than prior behavior. It used to just tick the numbers up, but now it will actually check for holds and return the item if it's checked out. There's some stuff with permissions, like the permission to control the ability to change the logged in library. For years, we've been using a piece of jQuery to prevent people from switching libraries. Now it'll just be part of the staff permissions. That's kind of nice. Patrons will
that's-
be able to delete their patron messages. They'll be able to do that thing that koha-US paid for. That was what we paid for, wasn't it?
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Now, when you say messages, you mean like the
The
full
message,
text
not
note.
the note.
But
You know,
not
when
like
you
a-
go to, yeah, when you go to a patron's account, there's the notes and the messages. The messages are the ones that if it's an opaque message, patrons will be able to mark that as I've seen it. I think the button says dismiss, and then it will put an alert on that message in the staff interface that says this has been read by the patron, and it'll give a date. And it'll be a reportable field, so you can run a report that says these are the dates these messages were seen by the patron.
Which is really nice because at least it'll give us some kind of mechanism to indicate whether or not, the patron has read something that we intended for them to read. And then we can delete some of the old stuff there that just hangs out there for forever.
There's a few other things that they talked about. Like I said, the one I'm most excited about is the hold digest. Because we do have at libraries with the courier service, you might have, the most I've ever seen at once was 70 things coming in at once that were all for the same patron. And so that patron got 70 separate individual emails saying your hold arrived, your hold arrived, your hold arrived. And now they'll just be able to get one email that says your 70 crazy homeschooling books that you're going to check out for a day, and then go, oh, we don't want these, and return them all. They've all arrived. So it won't be that specific, but it'll be having a digest there, I think, is a big improvement. So
the hold digest is going to work the same way the checkout and check-in notices do, where as you're doing library business, it's building a
Yeah.
list until process message queue runs and sends that notice with the whole list of holds that have developed since the last process message queue.
yeah, currently we have that set to run every 15 minutes. So if somebody's checking in 70 things and they start at 2:29 and they get like 5 things done, the patron will get a message that says you have 5 things arrived. And then if they finish in the next 15 minutes, they'll get the other 65 in the next message. But even that's an improvement over 70 individual messages, because those 70 individual messages will often trigger a junk mail filter or spam filter or any of that stuff. So
we updated our process message queue cron, so all of the existing notices are still sending every 15 minutes, but the holds digest sends every 2 hours to make it sort of make bigger groups.
I didn't know that was an option. I got to get that done. It'd be nice if it just went like 2 or 3 times a day, 2 hours. Yeah.
But then again, how often do you have patrons get some holds and then a little while later some more holds? We went back and forth on how we wanted to time that.
Well, with our libraries, with the courier service, with the statewide courier service, you can often, some of our bigger libraries will get like a delivery with like 20 boxes of stuff.
Yeah, and I can see how that,
Yeah, like the Leavenworth Library or the Ottawa Library, the bigger libraries, they'll get like a big load of stuff that they might not even be able to check all in like an hour's time. And so it's totally normal for a large consortium with a big distribution system to get a lot of stuff at once. So
yeah. Hello to anybody else who has wandered in here. The room has been sort of growing and shrinking. So hello, we're near the end of our koha-US general meeting. We're on the last item of new business, which is a very open-ended talk about 2305. Honestly, I'm going to officially scooch us into open discussion, which is a distinction without a difference. Now we're talking about whatever you want to talk about. Be that 2305 stuff, bugs, questions, whatever. I don't know. Welcome. Hello. Oh, I killed it. Dang. Well, okay. Does anybody have any bugs that are driving them crazy or that recently like passed QA and you're so happy about it?
I had just recently discovered, and I know that they're in the process of, I know that there's been some fixes. It's still not quite right, but I have noticed that there are some oddities with the claims return tables, particularly in 2211. It's just acting really funky in 2211. I know that it looks like in 2305, they've repaired it. But there are still some, see here. I'm looking at my thing. I guess,
Yeah,
I
and
guess in 2305, they did fix that. It was appearing, the table is appearing on any tab that you are on the patron account. And if you clicked on it or, looked at it, it didn't function right. And then if you go over to the claims return tab, it would break. It would only function right if you freshly loaded the patron account and clicked on the tab, and then you would get a functioning claims return. So it looks like that has been repaired for 2305. So yeah, it's been a little odd.
I found the bug. I just put it in chat. Bug 35112 was a 2211 bug that made the returns claim table all wonky, and then it continued to be wonky in 2305, but is less wonky now.
Less wonky is very good.
We like less wonky. Heather put a bunch of bugs in the chat. Let's look at what Heather's bugs are. They're going to be cataloging bugs, and so I'm not going to understand them. The 520 summary, etc. doesn't display. I do understand that one. I know what a 520 is, and I know what it means to display in the staff interface. Got one. So that's cool. We like to show notes places. Oh, some authorities display stuff. Oh, I did see that bug make it possible to adjust the barcode height and width on labels. That does seem like it should be possible. Yes, if you wanted to print a slightly smaller or larger barcode, we're happy to see it. Kelly put something in past QA. Oh, that's a good one, y'all. Bug 27595. Place holds for patrons on accepted purchase suggestions. This has been like the thing that Koha should do. Everyone agrees Koha should do this, and yet it just doesn't. And we all just stare at our hands like, I don't know. So hooray. Place
What
a
one
hold
was
on
that?
something. Here, I'll put it in chat. 27595. Oh, it's already in chat. Doy. That's why I clicked it. So it's past QA. It's not like push to master yet. And maybe hope for this fall of this year when we get to 20. So if this goes into 2405, we should get it in the fall. Yeah, Bywater Partners meeting. Yeah, that'll be fun.
I do like that there are a couple of notice changes going on. Bug, I think it's 3150. It moved emails for sending cart and list contents into the notices tool. So you have a little bit more control over that. And then the membership expiry notice is now is going to be able to go out by SMS.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that 3150. I think Jason in some previous meeting pointed to it as the oldest bug in this release, which is always fun. because it is an old bug of those 4-digit bug numbers. And yeah, that's a nice thing. Just give us visibility and editability on notices and or lists and carts. Cool.
Speaking of old bugs, George and I have a video going out tomorrow talking about an old bug. Oh, what was that? The bug number. That is, sorry, I had it here. It is bug 9567. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. It's about favorites.
That's probably a good video. I don't remember it at all, so it must have been awesome. It blew my mind.
We pre-recorded a bunch, so it's been a while since we did those.
Yeah, that was before Thanksgiving. We tried to get a bunch of holidays out of the way.
Somebody messaged me a bug that they're excited about in 2311. So looking forward a little bit. This 27720. Oops, that's not what I meant to paste at you. Sorry. What an unhelpful message. There we go.
Interesting, because so 27720 print slip with list of patron holds from patron account, because our libraries don't use the built-in curbside pickup mechanism. We have something custom that we have built. It's just a little bit, more basic, but does what we need it to do. But I just added the ability, you can print a slip, and these are slips that didn't exist in Koha. You can print a slip that gives you, you can fill out information. It pops up a screen. You can fill out where they're parked, what their name is, and stuff. And you'll take the information with you on a slip that you can check out their information through a self-checkout and quickly process them and get stuff out the door. But I just added a function to that allows you to add the holds that are waiting at your library to that slip, which is really nice, so that you have that list with you when you're grabbing all that stuff. Because we have holds that can be in one location or another, and having a list of those items helps us to quickly gather that stuff.
Well, then I hope this is helpful. Sounds like it could be.
There was a Koha developers meeting this morning. I didn't go, unfortunately, because it was like at 7 a.m. and school is back in session, so I can't make it to meetings that early. But one of the things that was discussed that was put off was the roadmap to 2405. This is what the developers are looking at for the things that they're working on for Koha version 2405, and there's the wiki link there.
Cool, thank you.
So if anybody is interested in what's coming up or wants to look at those and say, holy crap, that's a bad idea, I'm going to go in there and talk to people about it. Or, oh my God, that's a great idea, I want to help. This is the opportunity right now to figure that stuff out. So
I never realized they had a roadmap for what they're shooting for releases.
Sometimes this roadmap looks really good. It's really well organized. It's really well put together. I've seen other ones from past releases that are, I think the developers are getting better at this, about putting these together and organizing things. And I think there was actually a part of this one about the developers talk about these at the development meetings, and who of us goes to the development meetings? I mean, that's the biggest issue. I mean, this is the kind of thing that you have to either go to the developers meetings or read the meetings from the minutes from those meetings to be more aware of, I think. So, and that's an area where, the end users aren't necessarily great at. So
I see that template toolkit reference guide is on that roadmap. That's going to be nice.
Yes. It is. I'm looking forward to that. That's something I've been, didn't I complain vocally about that at the conference?
Yes. Yes.
Squeaky wheel gets the
It
grease.
worked. It worked. Complaining works.
At the same time, this is an open source software that's driven by users, and if you feel like you have the expertise to throw into the ring and creating that documentation, and George, I want to like super triple underline, I am not like, I know you do 1,000 things for the community. I'm not calling George out for not contributing enough to Koha, but
Well,
like,
I actually put my name forward and I am officially one of the 2405 wiki curators, and I've already worked out a way to go back and get template toolkit and notices in template toolkit in particular are areas that I'm trying to work on updating the wiki about and just organizing the wiki better. Because right now there are literally 4 places where you can go to find stuff about notices and slips. But you know, I'm working on that in my, you know, in my spare time, which because we have an upgrade in 17 days, I don't have a lot of. So
thank you so much for that. That is work that needs doing and will not be any fun.
I guess it depends on your definition of fun. I'm having fun.
See, I would call that satisfying. Gonna be so tidy and look so good. Anyway, we're at 11:03. Theoretically, this meeting goes until 11:30 if it feels like it. How's it going, everybody? I'm scrolling
Well,
back through.
I'll bring up something
Yeah.
which isn't a bug yet. It's more like in an egg case still, because I know the problem exists and I haven't looked at it because I've been working on other stuff. But when we have an item due, Koha sends out a message saying you have an item due. A day later, sends out a message saying you have an item due, but it's all blank. Brought this up before. But you have the author field, and the barcode, all that, just nothing there. And I know it's using the same template because I added in something unique to that, which is, you know, if you get something that's all blank, disregard it. Trying to figure this out. And I haven't seen anybody's eyes light up saying, oh, yes, I know exactly what that is.
Huh. So this is the item due notice. It sends on the day the item is due, and then it sends again the day after the item was due.
Yes.
Are you certain you're not accidentally sending a first overdue notice at 1 day overdue that is using the script of the item due notice?
Yep.
Okay.
I
That
checked
was a
that
very
much.
remedial question, but like, you know, just in case.
Oh, I understand completely.
Oh, weird.
Okay, I'll do a little more research.
You're using the items.content?
I don't know.
Because I think that needs to be in the with the hungry alligators.
Yeah, but if it shouldn't be generating the notice in the first place, like those, it's weird.
Well, okay, I've stumped everyone, so we'll try
I
to
guess
get-
that would be my,
Are those,
that would be my
cron
first
jobs?
thing. That would be my first thing to test is one of them the pre-due and one of them is the due. But if
Same
you've
notice.
tested that, then
Yeah. Okay, maybe next month I'll have more to say about it.
Could it be that there's 2 cron jobs set up for that notice? Maybe?
I don't know why there would be 2 for that, but not just 1 for everything else. I'll take a look at that too.
I mean, the dues and pre-dues get made by their own cron. It's that advance notices cron, so it
Okay,
could be.
take a look.
You also might have a, I don't know if there would be something in the triggers for the overdues that's kind of pointing at the wrong thing.
Yeah.
You might check your triggers
be.
too.
I mean, it could be a data thing if somehow like issues are getting duplicated in the database, but that seems like other things would be going wonky. Like
Yeah,
Koha would be spitting in other ways. Weird.
I've had we've had some wonky things with notices. We've had some duplication in notice templates that were throwing some things off, but we've also had some notices that one notice was copied into another template, and so it was going out. We had to trace that out, and so it might be posing as one notice and it really was something else. So you might have to troubleshoot your templates, make sure that all your templates are truly what they say they are.
okay, I'll try that too.
Two more bugs have shown up in the chat while we've been talking. Christopher would like us all to think about bug 31572, email and SMS verification. So is
Yeah,
this
I
like
think-
give Koha a way to make sure that that's a real email address?
Yeah, it's email is an ongoing thing that we wrestle with here, trying to streamline that so we're not having to do so much legwork. I field a lot of dead email addresses after the fact. Either staff have entered them incorrectly or we're just given bogus email addresses or and text messages tend to fall off the grid because I don't check the logs on that nearly as much as I should. But this is something that was brought up in discussion in the bugs. I think we could generate a little bit more discussion on this topic, but it would be great if there was some more mechanism. We have a piece in place with self-registration where you can validate an email address, but that's one piece of the entire puzzle. It would be great to have that validation, if staff are entering patron accounts, that we don't send messages to an email address or to an SMS unless it is verified, and so maybe if a new address or a new SMS number is entered, it gets queued up for sending out a verification, and it's marked it's unverified, and Koha doesn't send anything into it until the patron has responded back for either of them, and Koha then marks it as verified. And then also have a mechanism in there to where if we suspect that has died, we're getting bounce messages on it, we can we can go into the patron account and hit a re-verification button, and it puts it back in that queue to be verified again.
Sounds cool. Please
So
go,
welcome
comment
lots
on the
of
bug and check.
input on that.
And
Does
Danny
that
put
have
into
a bug
oh, go ahead.
number yet, Christopher? Does that have
Yeah,
a bug number?
It's in the chat. It's 31572. And Danny put a bug in there that she'd like to see. This is bug 1950. New list category to restrict specific lists to staff and hide from OPAC. So lists of titles.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That's
We ask it all the time.
19501.
I've wanted to hand off and say, to a student worker, here's a list of lost books. Remove the ones you find without having to rerun the query every time or have them running reports. Or catalogers working on fixing things. It'd be nice if I could hand off the list and she could, remove them as they get fixed.
That'd be nice.
The exit, without having to, especially with the MARC, you have to rerun those reports and, to update it and use lists in that way. So yeah, it wouldn't be visible in the OPAC, just like a staff list.
That'd be nice. Yeah, continuation of list functionality. Didn't we just get the ability to like take a list that used to belong to somebody else and give it to a new person? Yeah, that was it.
I'm loving the modification from the reports though, or adding it to list from reports and all that. Ooh,
Yeah.
love that.
Oh, this is a not exactly Koha thing that I thought of while Christopher was talking about SMS, but it's probably worth mentioning. I don't know if y'all
So you weren't listening to me at all? You were thinking about something else?
Yeah, I was just waiting for my turn to talk. The Des Moines Public Library brought this up in the early adopters channel over on the Bywater Slack. They ran into an issue where Twilio was not delivering their text messages that had dirty words in the text message. We had a couple instances of the same thing here. We had a nice patron who had checked out the book Cock-a-Doodle Moo and could receive no notification with the word Cock-a-Doodle Moo in it. Twilio reports that was an SMS provider issue. In our testing informally, we found that Verizon didn't want to hear about Cock-a-Doodle Moo, but T-Mobile didn't care. Des Moines was having like a lot of messages filtered and eventually hassled Twilio until they made a change that fewer things are getting blocked. But the initial response was very much like, I don't know what to tell you guys. Verizon doesn't want to deliver your dirty text messages to children. So it was a little frustrating. Again, this is not a Koha thing. Koha is making these notices fine. It's cell providers not wanting to deliver net messages with bad words. So I don't know. Go forth and look at your text message logs. Maybe you will find fun surprises.
If only the end user had control over whether they could receive something or not. Wouldn't that be nice instead of having everybody decide for you?
Yeah. In theory, one could get one's library registered as an entity that sends text messages about sensitive subjects. And then you'd be allowed to send those things, but you would need to demonstrate to the government that everybody whose text number you gather, you verify that they're over 18 as you do so. Fascinating. It's a whole weird thing I didn't know existed. I feel like I just gave everybody a thing to think about.
I'm just thinking of what possible pornographic permutations there are of Cock-a-Doodle Moo.
You know, the afternoon we spent generating checkout notices on a variety of titles from our catalog to see which got delivered and which did not was kind of funny.
Time well spent.
Stephanie put a long thing about ERM in the chat, and so now I'm trying to read it and make sense of it because ERM confuses me.
The dreaded permissions issue again.
Ooh, yeah. That's a fun bug. Yeah, this feels like a thing we've run into before. So yeah, apparently Koha was requiring some very high level permissions to change anything in ERM. And that's been pushed to 23.05.05. Cool. So that's been backported. That's nice.
To be fair, ERM is still fairly new, and so I can't understand why they have to iron out some permissions on that.
Yeah. Well, and then Kelly posted in a follow-up bug to take an even deeper look at ERM permissions. So that's cool. That's good.
Hey, the president is here.
El Presidente. Good morning, sir.
Congratulations, Bob.
Not quite yet, or else I wouldn't
No?
be here.
Ah,
Just got back from a doctor appointment, so.
Well,
We heard you were on
congratulations on your doctor appointment.
paternity leave. Yes. We
Yeah,
thought
so
we thought he was here.
So I get to work a few extra days, but. So I figured I'd drop in and see how things are going.
So far, so good.
It's
Nobody's
not a
dead.
big flaming ball of, I don't know.
Yeah.
We're
Things are going
surviving.
swimmingly.
Well, I don't know. I said nobody's dead, but John turned his camera off. Who knows? Oh, jeez. Quick, John, be alive. I'm going to feel really bad. Phew.
I can't say I prepared a lot of bugs today to bring, so sorry about that.
Nobody's fixed my most stupid SQL autocomplete bug yet. I'm really cranky about. When you're typing in your SQL query, anything that you put in quotation marks or a parenthesis, when you close the quotation or close the parenthesis, it pops up the little autocomplete thing. I'm not describing it well. It's really annoying. It's like, yeah.
Is it getting away? Is it
Yeah, it does. Here, let me
demonstrate
you what-
for us, please?
Yes, I shall do so. Let me find
A
Koha.
couple of people at the training, or one of the trainers said that there are a couple of people that are bothered by the autocomplete feature, and there may be a push to figure out a way to make it a switch so you can turn it on or off.
I saw a bug for that already, actually, to make it optional. Okay, so if we're auto-completing, so far so good. Yeah, I did want to select. This is one thing I've learned about autocomplete. It really makes those table aliases happy, or, important, because now, since I have said from items I can come up here and say I dot whatever and get my items fields. I don't know, like I'm just making stuff up now. Okay, so say I wanted to limit my report on data sessions, cool. But I want it to be just the date, so I've used the date function. Why is that helpful? I close my parenthesis after naming a field, and it's like, okay, which table did you want here? None of these tables. So now if I don't notice that and I hit enter, it does that, and I'm cranky. I'm going to send Koha a bill for my new escape key because I'm hitting escape so many times now. That's my very dumb SQL complaint.
That is quite annoying, man. Talk about a step backwards in having to go and fix the things that shouldn't have been there in the first place.
And honestly, it's still a nice improvement. I would rather hit escape a bunch of times than keep going back to the schema to remember, is this account lines ID or is it just ID in the account lines table? I don't know. But
I put a link to the bug to make autocomplete optional in the chat box there.
Thank you.
At the very least, they should look at why it's doing that.
Somebody already fixed my other complaint, which was made it so that if you were at the start of a line and you hit tab, it opened up the autocomplete thing instead of putting a tab indent on the start of your line of your report, which I was cranky about because I use tab to format my queries a lot to make them readable. But that one's fixed already. Must have been easier. Kelly said something. So you have to do the from first, then the select work. Yeah, it does. If you just start typing select whatever, it doesn't know what table you're thinking about yet. So it has proven helpful to define the from, so your report is already focusing on a specific table, and then go back to the select.
Thank you, Andrew. That clears it up for me.
Hey, no problem. Way back in the day, long ago, Liz from Biowater had some blog post about, hey, this is how your computer actually thinks about a SQL query. It starts with from, and it was helpful. It made me think different about SQL.
Wasn't it just a cartoon? That
Yeah, I
she
think it might have been a cartoon. It was like, yeah.
I'm curious, does select have to be on the first line or can
Um,
from be on the first line?
Koha will not let you save any report that does not have the word select first thing in the query.
But in query or in SQL queries in general, does it have to be?
No, it does not, because if you wanted to say like delete something from a SQL database, you would type delete from blah, blah, blah.
So
And so
Koha is tying our hands from formatting it in the sequence that it actually processes.
I mean,
It's also preventing you from dropping tables too.
yeah, I mean, if you want to select data, your query has to start with select, and Koha is restricting us to only select statements so that we can't change anything.
Well, actually, can you write other like if you use a common table expression, you do with, you could theoretically you could write a query that starts with and not do any updates or deletions from the database.
What would that do? I
You
don't know what starting something with in SQL does, because
it's kind of like doing a subquery or something, but
Okay.
instead of a subquery, you say with, and then you name the table, then you put a subquery essentially, and then you can use like the table that you named in other subqueries.
Yeah, I don't think Koha would let you do that like directly, but you could probably select all from
Yeah, and then do it
parenthesis
inside
you're
that.
with, yeah, which is dumb but would work. I don't know if y'all have spent much time writing reports that look at action logs, but this is another place I run into Koha's like dumb little controls, because there are the action types in the action logs include things like create and update, which are words you are forbidden from saying in a SQL report. So then you have to get sneaky and say, I want things from the actions log where the action was like create, CREA, wildcard. Because if I say the word create, Koha gets really nervous and it won't save my query.
Yeah, somewhere I think I have a list of the words you can't use in a Koha SQL statement. It's like George Carlin's list of 7 words you can't see on television, but it's like with, or it's like create, you know, it's just a bunch of, it's not nearly as fun.
We don't say delete here, because what if something disappeared?
Okay, but will Verizon deal a text message with those words?
That's a good question.
Is there like a reason why, like, whatever process that runs those queries from Koha reports, why it's using essentially, basically that indicates to me that it's using credentials that would have those powers. Maybe. And so it seems like maybe it could be fixed, like, so that you don't have to limit those words, but you could just have the Koha reports use a user that only has read access.
That's a cool idea. If I were to put money on it right now, I would bet that once upon a time, some Koha developer was like, I don't know how to do this a better way. I'm just not going to let you put those words in there. And then time passed, and somewhere between then and now, somebody else probably figured out how to do it the cool, smart way you were describing. And now we just have both.
Brendan, that's just too logical of a way to do it. I mean, you know, let's give everything and then say, no, you can't have this.
Well, because I don't know, maybe in the future version of MariaDB or something, they introduce a new way of deleting things. And then you would have to update your block list of words. So I don't know. This is all theoretical now.
This sounds like you got a fun project to pursue.
I've seen so many badly written reports that I'm grateful that Koha doesn't let users use words that could potentially, if I mean, if there's some little bug somewhere and somebody accidentally uses a delete and it slips through, I'm just happy that that can't happen in more than one way.
It would be a bad day.
But it does make sense. I mean, logically, you know, I would think that, yeah, Koha should not be utilizing a user that had those powers to begin with. You know, if we're able to just maybe the problem is if we're able to write a report, it doesn't granularly separate, you know, writing a report and, you know, having those abilities. Maybe it's limited that way, and that's why they had to do it this way.
I like having the bumpers as a newer person developing SQL.
We're running out of time, but I put one more bug in the chat. This is also reports related. There's a exciting new update and run button that says take my changes and save them and just run the report. If, like me, your process involves a lot of typos where you save something and then you run it and you see that it doesn't work and then you go back and check your typos, I was a little frustrated to find that it, if you hit the update and run button, if your thing fails to run, it also fails to save, which is dumb. But like, you know, I could work around it for now.
Sort of understand the reasoning behind it. If it doesn't work, why save it?
Yeah.
But as someone who has broken more instances of Koha than probably anybody else here, I'd say save everything.
Yeah. Saving garbage and then refining it later is my process.
I think like some SQL clients that I've used before, they don't allow you to save the query, but they let you run the query before you save it to see if it works. So, but you can't save it unless it successfully runs.
Yeah, and that, I guess that would be fine if that was like what Koha was doing. And if that was what we were all used to from Koha. Now I'm just spamming all the bugs because I clicked to the page of Bugzilla that tells me all the bugs I filed. We ran into a few little things about multi-receiving. Anyway, y'all, it's
Are these all
11:20.
things?
Oh, go ahead.
So these are all things you ran in with 2305?
Yeah, they're all 2305 things in that they're all related to features that were new in 2305.
Got it.
So it's, yeah, not anything that broke. It's just new stuff that could have been more perfect in its newness. And with that, y'all, we've hit the stroke of 11:30 adjusted for your local time zone. And thus ends this meeting, scooching us along into the development meeting. Thank you all for coming. Hey, George put koha-US bugs in the chat. How helpful.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, whenever we're doing these meetings, and I try to tag all of the bugs that we talk about, and that's the page where you can find, I tried to get them all today, I'm not sure I did, but there should be bugs that we discussed at this meeting and others in that link.
Do we have a
Correction,
conference
Andrew,
meeting?
not development meeting. We're going to be going into the conference.
That's what I
committee
meant.
meeting.
Sorry, thank you. Hey, Roxanne, thank you for coming. Please join us again. Even more so, please go look at the koha-US calendar and look at the special interest group meetings. Those tend to be more focused on like, hey, what's your problem? Let's solve it. Like Vanilla Ice. And that was unintentional, sorry. But yeah, we'd be happy to have you. All right.
Bye, everyone.
Adios.
Christy, if
This
you
is-
could stop that recording.
Andrew was running it.
Oh,
I
okay.
got it. Boop.
Thanks.